Becky, and this is the third in my little series of short yoga practices to support runners. Whether you're training for an event or just enjoy running, just dropping these practices in between your runs is going to be super supportive. It's going to help you build the strength around the joints, to absorb the impacts and general body conditioning, but it's also going to provide that essential stretching counterbalance to how much you're using the muscles in the running. So very targeted practices for runners. Okay, for this practice it would be really helpful. We're going to use a yoga brick. So if you don't have a yoga brick, it needs to be something quite firm that's going to give you good feedback. So you could use a thick hardback book that's kind of about this proportion. It doesn't have to be quite as thick. Okay. You could use a firm pillow for one of the postures, but for one of them, something really hard is going to help. Okay, so just have it handy nearby. So we're going to just start lying down on our backs and just arrive, just take that moment to just tune in to how your body is. Maybe you've done a big run recently, you're feeling it in the body, just noticing where your body's at, noticing where it might be communicating to you through sensation, maybe even possibly pain or discomfort, so that we can just be aware as we practice and modify as we need. So just taking a little body scan, sweeping your awareness through your body. And just deliberately just giving your body over to the floor for a moment, just seeing how quickly you can become like a dead weight, as heavy as possible, just relaxing the back, letting the floor support you here. We're just going to take some really slow deep breaths. So I'm going to counting in for 6, out for 6 a few times. So if you can, follow my count. If you can't, just do your own slow, deep, regulated breath, even inhale, even exhale. So breathe through the nose if you can, otherwise mouth is fine. So when you're ready, we're going to breathe in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. In for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Just nice, slow, deep breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to just take a full body stretch, bring the legs together, toes up to the ceiling, reaching the arms overhead, keeping the lower back or upper mid-back glued to the floor, so feeling the ribs, the back of the ribs pressing to the floor. And then we're going to take our brick, we're going to bend the knees, lift the feet off the floor and flex the feet. And if you have a brick, if you don't, just squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. We're going to take the brick between the thighs and squeeze. We're going to take the arms out to the side like cactus shape, elbows in line with the shoulders, right angle at the elbows, palms facing up. If that doesn't work, just take the arms straight out, palms down. Squeeze that brick, flex the feet, and inhale at the centre and exhale, take the knees over to the right, keeping left shoulder blade on the floor. Inhale to the centre, keep squeezing. Exhale to the left, keeping right shoulder blade on the floor. Inhale to the centre, just do that a few more times each side. Keep squeezing the brick. This is helping us connect to our deep core, to keep us stable at the deepest level as we run. Inhale, centre. Exhale out to the left. So just find your own rhythm with your breath, and the inhale brings you back to the centre, and the exhale takes you out to the side. And we're trying to focus on keeping the upper back stable and connected to the floor, so only twisting in the lower back, finding mobility, movement in the lower back hip area, which can get very tight with running, opening the chest through keeping the shoulder blades on the floor, and squeezing the brick to develop our deep core conditioning. Next time you come back up from the left, just pause, release the brick, just give yourself a little hug here. Hands on the front of the knees or the back of the knees. Maybe that little rock. Relax the belly after you might feel that in the belly. Feel how squeezing the brick helps connect us to our deep core in the lower belly. And then let's just stretch the adductors after the squeezing of the brick. So Supta Baddha Konasana, holding the feet, tops of the feet or the ankles or the shins. Bring the soles of the feet together if available, or big toes touching or close. Bring the heels to the groin, knees wide. And maybe a little pivot here. I like to kind of pivot on the sacrum. So one knee comes closer to me, then the other knee comes closer. Just finding a little rhythmic pivot if that works for you. If it doesn't, just stillness. Another analogy is you can imagine you've got a big tail, like a dog wagging its tail, how that moves the sacrum side to side. And then coming to stillness. And bringing the knees together again. We're going to just roll to one side, bring ourselves onto our hands and knees. So finding your way there. And I always like to put a cat-cow in or two, so hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. And inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, shoulders back, look up to your eyebrows. And exhale, tailbone under, press through the hands, stretch the upper back to the ceiling, chin to chest. Just doing 2 or 3 more with your breath rhythm. Finding that fluidity, that mobility in the spine, like a wave of motion that travels up the spine, from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And then at the end of your next exhale, just come to a neutral spine. We're just going to work again with that deep core conditioning. So lift your lower belly up towards the front spine, slide your right foot back, and you can either do just single leg plank if this is enough, just drawing right heel back, pressing through the floor, activating the shoulder girdle. Otherwise, if you can, bring left foot to join right foot, keeping the hips in line, much stronger now. Press the floor away. Breathe fully, lift the front body to the front spine. Maybe a little glide back and forwards if that's okay for your wrist, just so that we work the foot fascia. Maybe the shoulders slightly come in front of the wrist for a moment and then slightly behind. And then see, can you place your right elbow down where your right hand was? And then can you place your left elbow down where your left hand was and lower the hips in line with you and find the forearm plank. And take some breaths. If this doesn't work, just come down to your belly. We're going to come down in a moment. Strong legs. And then lower the hips down so we can all meet in the Sphinx. So we've got the hips on the floor, we've got the elbows underneath the shoulders, the forearms are parallel, we're spreading the fingertips and the thumb tips wide. And then we're using the big back muscles to draw the shoulder blades together and down the spine. Pressing through the tops of the feet, maybe slightly pressing through the pubic bone. So it's quite active, this posture. It's getting a lovely release for the belly. And the chest. And then slowly lowering the front spine to the floor. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, and possibly reverse press up back to the plank, straight up, or keep the knees on the floor, but lift the lower belly to the front spine, press, so maybe back to the tabletop first, and then either from tabletop or plank we're coming into downward dog. So lift those hips up and back, bring the feet hip distance apart, spread the fingers and the thumb, press the fingertips, thumb tips down. Push the floor away with your hands to send those hips up and back, bend the knees as much as you need. It's like you're trying to get your chest towards the thigh, that kind of direction. Looking back towards your feet, so head just between the upper arms. And externally rotating your upper arms to roll them away from the ears. Nice, slow, deep breaths here. And then at the end of your exhale, look forward. We're going to walk or step the feet till they're underneath the hips and parallel. So hip distance apart, outer edges of the feet parallel. Just take a little forward fold here. You can hold the opposite elbow or just let the arms dangle, drop the head. And then hopefully you've got your brick handy. So my brick's very thick, so it's this is going to be quite challenging for me. You could have a lower brick, but we're going to see if it's possible to bring the balls of the feet onto the brick. So not just the toes, the ball of the foot just below the toes. And then we're going to see if we can forward fold from here. And this is really going to get into the lower calf, the backs of the ankle. So for me, with my very tall brick, this is pretty challenging. You could use a book that's not as thick as this brick or a thinner block, or just go for the challenge. You can obviously bend the knees as much as you need. Press through the big toe pad, the little toe pad, the back of the heel. Very intense. And then one at a time, release the feet from the brick and bend the knees, press, bring the hands to the hips, press through the feet, bring yourself up. Okay, so this is where we do need the feedback of a solid yoga brick. If you have like a massage ball, that could work as well, or a tennis ball actually. So you could just press pause and grab that. So because we're going to use the edge of the brick to work the foot fascia, so with one foot at a time, so I'm using my right foot first, I'm going to use the edge, the corner of the brick or possibly a book, and just lean my weight in. And it's like a massage. When we do a lot of running, the feet get really tight. And just move your foot around, come to the inner edge. Oof. Come to the outer edge. Maybe come to the heel. We're using that edge of the brick to be like a bit of a pokey, massagey place. And it's like you're rolling the flesh down and easing your weight into it. Be kind. Open the fascia. Open the sole of the foot with this pressure. If you're feeling brave, you could use the corner and really get into some specific points. If you find a juicy bit that's really intense, try to stay with it. Try to just breathe with it. Sometimes you can feel something really let go by just staying present. It's that kind of weird, good pain. The pain of tightness that's actually asking for our attention. Okay. And then when you've had a little explore on that side, just bring the right foot to the floor and just notice the difference. Just a very brief practice like that. As I say, you could use a specific myofascial release or massage ball or tennis ball. It really can open the fascia. You can feel more grounded, more open on the sole of the right foot than the left, and it might even look different. And then we'll do the other foot. So finding the left foot and just pressing it into the edge, leaning your weight in. It's like you're gently easing the weight down. So we're not just being too abrupt. There's really that quality, that safety feeling of easing in, quality of touch. Changing the foot position, not forgetting the inner edge, and the outer edge, towards the heel, onto the heel. Maybe finding some choice juicy points with the corner. Oof, oof, if you find that oof spot, pause, sustain the pressure, breathe, relax as best you can. And especially let exhales just really come, releasing part of the breath cycle. Okay. Notice if one foot's tighter than the other. All interesting, useful information. And then when we feel like we've done about the same, just bring both feet down, just bring the feet to the floor, really spread the toes, close your eyes, soft bend in the knees, and just really feel that kind of sense of spreading, releasing, opening of the soles of the feet. Okay, so it's really important. We do a lot of running, or generally, for all human beings when we wear shoes a lot. So from here, we are going to come to the wall, and again, you're going to need a brick, or at this point, you could use a firm cushion or something, and if you don't have anything, just squeeze the inner knees together. We're going to come to chair at the wall. So bring your feet, I'm actually going to take my feet underneath my mat so it doesn't skid out. So we bring the feet hip distance apart, and you want to be able to see your toes point forward, and you're pressing the sacrum and the whole of the back to the wall behind you. We're bringing the block between the thighs, so your feet might be a bit less than hip distance apart at that point. And we're adducting, because adducting brings us into this deep core awareness and conditioning, stability. So you might also feel it in the lower belly. And if this is very easy for you, you can bring the sacrum down a bit, but I'll just move my mat so you can see, but you'll need to probably bring the toes forward. You want to always be able to see your toes, the knees above the ankle. And then we press the shoulder blades and take them onto the floor, and maybe, if it's available, we lift the arms up. But again, like we were doing on the floor, we don't want to lose that contact between the back of the ribs and the wall. So we don't want to arch the spine. Keep the spine neutral, so it might be that you can't get the hands all the way back. And just take some slow, deep breaths. We're going to pause for a little bit longer if we can. Keep squeezing that breath. This is really good for building strength and conditioning the legs to help support the joints, especially the knee joints here. One more breath if you can. Okay, and then bring the hands down, press yourself up, release the block, and come back to your mat. Just check the time. Actually, we can do something else at the wall. So come back to the wall. I'm going to open the upper chest, so get very tight in the upper chest with running. So we'll do a little bit of clock at the wall, not the whole posture. So come to stand sideways onto the wall, and we don't want to be leaning, we don't want the feet further out than the hips, we want the feet directly below the hips, so we're standing vertically as we take the arm out to the wall. So let's start with our right arm, and the base of the palm is in line with the shoulder, so it's hard for me to show you that, but it's kind of like this. The base of the palm in line with the shoulder with the fingers pointing behind. So if we were a clock, 12 o'clock's pointing up, we're at 3 o'clock. And we press, and we draw the right shoulder down away from the ear. And this might be enough, but if we can, we start to pivot away from the wall. We start to turn the feet to the left. And you're really going to start to feel that now, all the way down the right arm into the shoulder. Keep drawing the shoulder away from the ear. Keep pressing the base of the hand into the wall. Nice deep breaths. And then slowly come back. And change to 6 o'clock. So now the base of the palm is in line with the shoulder and the fingertips point straight down. Press, press, press. Stay here if it's enough. It's going to feel slightly different. And then if it feels like you can go more, we start to turn the toes to the left, pivoting, walking away from the wall. Keep drawing the right shoulder down away from the ear. Press that hand. You're going to feel this interesting places around the wrist, the forearm, really getting into the fascia. And then turning back to the right, release the hand and just let the hand drop, and maybe the right arm feels longer than the left, and it probably slightly is. And then we turn to face the other way. So now we've got the left hand on the wall, starting with the fingers pointed back, which in this case would be 9 o'clock now. Okay, and heel of the hands in line with the shoulder, we're standing vertically and we're pressing, and then maybe we're turning to the right with the feet. Keep pressing, keep drawing that left shoulder down away from the ear. Try not to frown, try to keep the breath slow and deep, try and keep the mind calm. If you're aware of a whole chatting dialogue going on with the mind, just let that play out. It's just doing its thing, but stay with the breath, and then turn back to the left, and then bring the fingertips to 6 o'clock again, straight down the wall. Base of the palm in line with the shoulder, shoulder joint down away from the ear. Stay there or start to pivot to the right. Pressing actively the base of the palm into the wall. Breathing deep. Trying to keep a serene face, even if there's an inner turmoil going on in the mind and the emotional body. And then turning back to the left, release that left arm, just shake it out, just notice how you feel, maybe quite floppy in the shoulder girdle. This is a good thing. Okay, and then we are going to come down to the floor. So come to sit down on your mat. And we're just going to do an inner thigh stretch. We're going to do upavishta, so take the legs wide straddle with the toes pointing up, and just bring the hands in front. And this might be enough for you. This might already be a very strong stretch on the inner thighs. If there's space, we're going to start to walk the hands forward, keeping the legs active. Keep pressing down through the backs of the heels, toes up to the ceiling, and just find your edge. Find that place where you can breathe deep, where you can really feel the intensity of that stretch, but you can breathe into it, you can actually relax into it, expand into it. If you can't, if you're going into contraction and compromised breath, then you've gone beyond your edge, so come back a bit, let your breath be your guide. And then slowly at the end of your next exhale, just walking the hands back in, take the hands behind the knees, bring the heels towards each other, bring the inner thighs to touch. Okay, and we're going to just come back to that core awareness. We're going to do it one boat and then we'll open the front body with a back bend. Okay, so bending the knees, we're going to come onto the toes, so lift the heels, try to keep the inner knees, at least for now, touching. As we come up, they'll probably come away from each other. And reach the hands forward and lift up through the spine, drawing the shoulders back and down. It's like somebody's pulling your chest up to the ceiling on a string. And then we lean back. Can we lift the toes off the floor and keep this position, lifting through the spine? Can we bring the feet in line with the knees? Probably the inner knees will stop touching at this point. But press the inner feet towards each other. And maybe full boat, full Navasana, we extend the legs, pressing the inner feet towards each other, knees won't be touching now. Lift through the spine, shoulders back and down, breathing deep. So just stay at whatever stage is right for you. You could even keep your toes on the floor. One more breath if you can. And then release. Bring the hands down. Okay, well done. So we're going to come onto our knees and take a baby camel as our back bend. So if kneeling's not for you, cross the legs and just do the same, cross-legged hands back, lifting the chest. But from here, we're going to bring the hands to the floor behind us with the fingertips forwards, and the hands are just slightly, a few centimetres, 10 centimetres or so behind the toes. And just start by lifting the chest, arching the spine, lifting the chest, and just tilting the chin up towards the corner of the room. So you can stay here. You might already feel this is a really strong stretch across the front of the chest and shoulders, but if available, we're going to get into the front of the hips and thighs as well by lifting the hips away from the heels. And at this point, if it feels safe to do so, you may wish to drop the head all the way back so it's resting on the upper shoulders. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other, press the knees down. Breathe deep. Remember, you can keep the hips down on the heels if that's better for you. One more breath if you can. And then slowly lower the hips down if you lifted them. Bring the chin back to the chest if you drop the head back, and bring yourself back up to vertical. Just take a moment. So I'm going to come down to the floor and I'm going to take you through an inversion sequence that's also going to be the counter for this back bend. Okay, so just bring your feet to the floor with the knees bent and reach the arms out. And again, just a little bit of core awareness. We're going to roll the spine down to the floor from the lower back to the upper back. This is also going to help counter the back bend if we do this very attentively, pressing the lowest vertebra down and then the mid back, and then finally the upper back, and finally the head. Okay, so if you're new to these inversions, you're welcome to watch and then rewind and practice. Otherwise, if you know the plow and Karnapidasana, then you can just do it with me. So remember, everything's an invitation. If this isn't for you, just bring your legs up to the ceiling in the centre of the room. Otherwise, we're going to have the hands by the hips. We're going to lift the feet off the floor, and we need a bit of momentum. We're going to press through the hands to send the legs up and back and lift the hips. Now, if the feet touch down behind us, I've got blocks in the way here. Blocks can actually be very helpful. If the feet touch down, then we can release the hands from the mat and support the spine. If the feet are hanging, hovering in the air, then we support the back. So we're holding the back here. But if the feet touch down, we interlace the fingers and have the hands down. Okay, so if the feet are floating, you're supporting your back. If the feet are down and you've got the support of the floor, you can interlace your fingers or press the palms down on the floor. So come to the tops of your feet, if possible, the toenails, stretch the front of your feet. Lift the hips, lift the knees away from the face. Obviously, if the hamstrings are tight, the knees will need to bend a little bit. And just take some slow, deep breaths. Now, if this is not for you, just you're lying on your mat with your legs up to the ceiling for about 10 breaths. If you are comfortably in plow, we're going to change to Kanapidasana. So you could do this with the hands supporting the back or with the hands interlaced on the floor. We're going to bend the knees either side of the head. And if it's available, you're actually squeezing the head with the inner knees. You might want to hold the edges of your mat if that makes you feel more stable. Now, something I love to do, and which I think is really good for runners, if you feel stable, is to reach the arms back towards the feet and actually hold onto your feet and almost pull the feet kind of away from the head. It's just like a little traction, or press them down into the floor. If this isn't for you, just keep the hands holding the edges of the mat interlaced on the floor, supporting the back. And then we're going to roll out really slowly. So you can be holding the edges of the mat. If you've got the hands interlaced, just press the palms down. But my favourite way to come out is with the hands back, kind of where the feet were, and to keep them back as attentively as possible. Roll out, using my core awareness, vertebra by vertebra, like you're ironing the spine, vertebra by vertebra. So it's really slow and mindful descent. And this will only work if the back is open enough, so don't worry if it doesn't work for you, just find a way to roll out. And then when you get to legs vertical, there's this lovely moment where the sacrum comes down and the weight of the legs just above the sacrum kind of gives this lovely anchoring feeling into the sacrum. And I just love to hang out in this shape. So if you're still with me, just pausing, you can have a soft bend in the knees. And then from here, you can just bring the hands forward. We're going to lower the legs, so you can do this with core control, very strong legs, double leg lower, or single leg lower, or just bend the knees, bring the feet down. Okay, and then we're going to come into the counter posture, the fish, but we're going to do it in a particular way. So press yourself up to seated, bring yourself up, cross the shins. And we're going to bring the hands close to the buttocks and prop ourselves up on our forearms, so down onto your elbows, as if you're kind of hanging out at the beach, just resting on your forearms here. But then we're going to lift. So my hands are really close to the buttocks, my elbows are in, and I'm going to lift the space behind the arch, behind the heart. It's a strong arch in the spine. And then again, if it feels safe to do so, I'm going to drop the head all the way back. And this is really the counter posture to the plow, halasana and kanapidasana, the bent leg version, is this opening of the throat. If you don't feel safe to do that, you can keep the chin tucked in and keep lifting the space behind the heart. But if it feels safe to do so, drop the head back so you get this lovely counterpoint of opening the throat after its compression. And then to come out, if you took the head back, really slowly, mindfully bring the chin back to the chest, walk the elbows out to the side, lay your spine down on the mat, and we're going to come to the constructive rest posture. So this is a beautiful posture for everyone, but especially runners, for resting deep core muscles and inner thigh muscles. So you take your feet a little bit further forward of the buttocks and about mat distance apart, and let the inner knees rest against each other, support each other. If they don't find each other, you can take your firm pillow or your brick between the knees so that the knees can be supported by the brick or support that you have between the knees. And the arms can just be down on the side. You might feel that it's nice to place the hands on the body somewhere, maybe one hand on heart, one hand on belly, or one hand on solar plexus, one hand on belly, or both hands on belly, or both hands on heart. So just intuitively put your hands on your body if that feels good, otherwise just palms up, hands on the floor. I'm just going to stay here for about a minute or so. You may feel kind of sensations in the lower back from the back bend that we did. And you may feel sensations in other parts of the body, but just know that this posture helps us deeply relax, including the deep postural muscles. So it takes a little bit of time to let that tension go deep in the body. So we're just going to stay a bit longer, letting the breath settle, relaxing the jaw, maybe closing the eyes, softening the gaze even behind the closed lids. Just letting everything settle. And then when you feel ready, we're going to finish it in Shavasana. So one at a time, sliding the legs out in front of you, feet slightly wider than the hips, and just let the feet flop out to the side, have the arms away from the side, the palms up, check you're centrally aligned with the spine and the pelvis. And just let go. Maybe a little body sweep. Is there anywhere where you're gripping, holding on to tension, resisting relaxation? And no judgment, no force, but just an invitation if you identify a part of the body that's tense to relax if it feels safe to do so. Just getting as heavy as possible. Shavasana means corpse pose, so being as much like a dead weight, like a corpse, sinking into the floor support as you're able to. Gap between the teeth, tongue broad and soft in the mouth. Eyes soft and expansive in their sockets, soft gaze, whether the eyes are open or closed. Try closing the eyes, see how that feels if you haven't already. Let go of any breath control. Relax. And as always, if you have time and you're not ready to come out of Shavasana yet, beautiful, stay for as long as you wish and have time for. Those that want to close with me, when you're ready, just start to deepen your breath. Just start to bring small movements back to your fingers and your toes, maybe your head side to side. And if it feels good, take a full body stretch, reaching the arms overhead. Maybe bring the knees into the chest, just giving yourself one last hug here, maybe a little rock side to side. And when you're ready, just slowly pressing yourself up to seated. Bring the hands together at the centre of the chest, maybe closing the eyes, just saying thank you, maybe dropping the head to the hands. Thank you to yourself for practicing, to your body. Anything else you're grateful for. And when you're ready, open the eyes, lifting the gaze. Thank you for sharing this practice with me. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.